Afternoon, guys. So got a couple things to go through with you today. We're gonna talk about your assignment that you're gonna do. We're gonna talk about next week. I think that's it, but there's a lot to do with those two things. So first things first, next week is going to be a catch-up week. Um, you can use it to work on what I'm assigning you today. You can use it to work on things that you're passed on. Please remember that the midterm is next Friday, meaning that you will receive grades next Friday, meaning that I need your stuff turned in by at least Wednesday of next week. Okay. So if you're behind, you haven't been turning stuff in regularly, get on it. I think right now there's 6 or 7 assignments in the grade book, but that may change by the time that you all watch this video. But take next week and catch up. If you're already caught up, then you're ahead of the game and you can work on this paper and maybe not have anything to do when we come back from break. It's up to you. Okay. So the paper that I'm going to assign you today is not going to be due until the second Wednesday after break. Okay, which would make it, should have looked this up before I started this video probably, but we are the 13th. Okay, so that means that first week that we're back from break, you will have no formal assignments from me. You will have some connections, but that's it. You won't have any lessons necessarily. It'll be working on that, and I'll continue to build onto short story writing that I've given you as an example, so you can use that. Okay, but it is due on the 13th. All right, and that also means that on the 11th and 12th, you all will have new lessons. So best to not put it off to the last minute. But you don't have to work on it necessarily over break unless you just feel like it. Okay. But I do want you guys to have that time over break if you want it, which is why I'm giving you essentially 4 class periods, well, 5 class periods if you take today to work on it. Okay. And so we've been reading mystery stories. We've been talking about these different ways that mystery is and suspense is sort of presented to us. And so what you're going to be doing is trying your hand at it yourself. So I'm going to show you the assignment, and I've given you some story starters that you can use, or you can come up with your own. Doesn't matter to me either way. Okay. So let me, hopefully this will load by the time I get over there. We'll see. It doesn't want to. Okay. Now, there we go. Okay. So this is the assignment that will be on Classroom with you. So let's go through this together. We have been reading various types of mystery stories and discussing what builds suspense in each of these stories. Now it's your turn to try your hand at this type of writing. You will first choose from one of the following mystery starters and then begin to write based on the guidance below. You need to include at least one element of a mystery story from our first lesson. So a red herring, a victim, a villain, these should all be easy to include. Include as many as you can, but you have to have at least one. Make it a mystery, okay? There are a lot of ways that you could begin your story, but I will provide you with an example introduction paragraph in another document. Be sure to include a title for your story. All right, so here's some story starters you can pick from. You can finish the story from where crawdads sing. Now, when you finish, if you choose one of these two, you are creating your own story, not Googling what happens in those 2 books and figuring it out from there. If you do that, you're going to have to redo it. Okay, so just do it based on what you see in that. All right, those are 2 choices that you have. So either using finishing the story from where the crawdads sing or from deepfake. Okay. There's another one is you wake up in an unfamiliar place, you feel groggy and don't know how you got here. You go to the bathroom to wash your face. When you look in the mirror, you discover that you have blood on your face. Is it yours? Is it someone else's? What happened? And so you go through that and you tell the story as if it's you. Okay. Another one is you're a detective in a local police department. Someone comes in to report that they have witnessed a murder. They begin describing the person to you, and suddenly you realize that the witness is describing a person who looks a lot like Santa Claus. I figured, why not? Tis the season, right? In 1955. You're a private detective. Things have been a little slow, so you're intrigued when a tall, mysterious woman walks into your office asking for help. Okay, or you can choose your own. It doesn't matter to me which one you choose. I've given you several options so that you can sort of go from those. If you start with one of these and it doesn't end up necessarily where you thought it was going to, okay. But do what you got to do with it. And use some suspense in there. Make it something that people want to keep reading. Okay, so let's flip over and look at what I've written so far for mine. So I chose the Santa Claus one. So you'll notice I have my name in the top left corner, which you do need to do. All right. And I've given myself, I given my paper a title. It's called The Big Guy, which Santa Claus. I think I'm funny. You probably don't, but I think I'm funny. So this is the very beginning of that story. So I had just gotten myself a cup of that mud that the department calls coffee when this guy comes into the station. He looks a little wild-eyed, and we tend to send those guys onto the uniform guys pretty quickly. He probably just needs a little sleep in the drunk tank. I'm about to grab one of the unis, and I see this guy on his way. And I send this guy on his way, excuse me, when he grabs my wrist tightly. Please, I saw something. I saw him. I'm going to italicize that because that'll make it better. You can do this too, right? If you want to emphasize a word, italicize it. I don't know what it is about this guy, but I have to hear him out. Maybe he isn't what he looks like. I take him over to my desk and he starts talking. Okay. And then I'm going to continue the story and I'm going to write it and sort of build the suspense from there. But you can see from the very beginning, I made you sort of feel interested. I'm just talking like a normal day, whatever. And I have this this thing that's happened here. And so I've set up a couple things. So I have a conflict here. So there's somebody who's seen a murder, right? So there's a conflict going on there. I've established some characters. So there's me, the detective, who is taking this guy's statement, but there's also this guy who says he saw this, saw something. So I've got to figure out what he saw. And so you, I would hope, would want to keep reading the story. And so that's what my goal is with this. Um, I will continue to add to my story and I'll post it for you guys after break. If I get it done next week, I'll post it earlier, but I don't want to post it too early, right? I want you guys to have some suspense too. And so I want you guys to sort of take this as an opportunity to sort of be creative. Try to make it your own story. Try to make it something that you feel like you can really do something with. Maybe you have a personal experience that was spooky or was suspenseful at some time, and maybe you want to do a dramatic retelling of that. Do that, right? I mean, it's your story. But I do want to see you guys using those elements. I want to see you guys showing me that you have learned a little bit about the structure of these mystery texts, that you've got something with, how they build the suspense and they establish it for you, and you sort of have to figure out where they're going with it. Okay. That's what I want you guys to do. All right. So that and your connection today is all I want you to be working on. I'm going to go ahead and post this as an assignment, but it's not. If you'll notice, the due date is not going to be until January 13th. Okay. And so you'll have plenty of time to work on this. So if you are behind, that takes first priority. All right. The second 9 weeks started on I want to say day 17. Yeah. So on Classroom, you can see there week 8, day 17 work. And then if you could have a superpower, what would it be? Notice that it's due November 11th, right? That was the first week of the second 9 weeks. So this is the first week of work you need to focus on for getting your second 9 week stuff done. First 9 weeks is over. Okay. And they don't really want us to add any more grades in or anything like that. So it's second 9 weeks now. All right. So week 8, 9, 10, and then last week's stuff, this week's stuff. I haven't obviously posted this lesson yet, but it'll be up there in just a minute. So if you're behind, which some of you guys are, get it done. All right, go back in, see what you're still missing. If you have turned something into me and it has been blank, turn something in. I don't know if that's working for you with other teachers. It shouldn't, but if it is, it's not going to work with me. I check your work and make sure that I have it. You may be mistaken sometimes, and I totally understand that, and I give you the benefit of the doubt every time, but I'm not going to give you a grade for something that you didn't do. Okay? So do the work, do your best, get it turned in. You are at a point now where you are halfway through your senior year, or just about. All right? Take the responsibility to go back through, figure out what you're missing, get yourself organized, okay? And then get your stuff done. If you are already on top of it, awesome. You guys may not have anything to do for 3 weeks for me. If you get your stuff done next week, don't worry about it. Okay. So the faster you guys can get that stuff taken care of, get it knocked out, the better off you're going to be. Okay. The reason this stuff is piling up is because you guys are not doing it for several weeks. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I should probably do that. Right. And don't get me wrong, I do it too with grading and things like that. But I can make mine up a lot quicker than you guys can make yours up. Okay. So I need you all to understand that if you go back and take a little bit of time to get that stuff done, you won't have to play catch up constantly. All right. Because playing catch up is not fun for anybody. Okay. So go back, get your stuff done, get your work taken care of, and then that way you can have a good winter break. Okay. So I'm going to get off here. I'm going to let you guys get started. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever you got to do, and I will get back with you as soon as I can. I will probably post a little message for you guys next week sometime, but I do hope that you guys have a really safe, relaxing, calming, um, semi-school free winter break. All right. And take care of yourselves. Okay. Do things that make you feel better, make you feel happy. And that way, whenever we come back in January, you guys are going to be really fresh and ready to go. All right. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys soon.